Hello, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway podcast. I'm your host, Deanna.
And I'm Maggie. Thanks for joining us today for episode 24. We are continuing our conversation about mini albums.
Mini albums, because we didn't talk enough about mini albums
Right?
time. So, plus, 'tis the season of mini albums. I feel like this really is the season of mini albums. I've been stalking Teresa's Instagram, and because she does October album, I think, or like October type of holiday album, a fall one, and I love her mini album. She does a ton of mini albums, but and I know Paige has been doing a ton of mini albums, showing hers and stuff, because I think that's mostly what she does now is mini albums, or so it seems. Right?
Yeah, I agree, because I do well, and she does all sorts of mini albums. She doesn't do just themed mini albums, which I think is fun. So
I do too. So I don't know. I like to have a theme, like something that connects it. So I guess, is that themed or non-themed? I don't know. We'll have to get into that. That's the question of today.
Yes.
How do you decide if it's themed or not?
Yep.
What is the running theme? Because you know,
have a theme, Megan, or not.
We can make anything a theme.
Right.
Mixed media is the theme. Using all one kind of like motif is the theme.
Yep. Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, right? Okay. So today we're kind of gonna run through, I think, the process and like more of the meaty stuff about albums. Last time we mostly just talked about like what kind of albums we have, how many we haven't finished, because that really is the true question. And maybe that's what I'll have the title of last week's one to be, so everybody can yell out if that's what I ended up doing. But is it really a mini album project if you haven't finished it?
Right. That's always the issue.
Because, you know, we have more ideas for mini albums than we do time to do those mini albums. So
yes, unless you're Paige Evans.
Yeah. See, and this is where we all get envious, right? Because it's like she gets to do this for real life, for funsies, for her job, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that we all could have that ability to do that if we worked hard enough. Well, so the world tells us, right?
Right. Yeah.
But in all reality, that doesn't. Most people who scrapbook aren't going to get paid that much to do it. And I know we talked a little bit about that, like towards the end, we talked about like just the specifics of being a scrapbooker who shares and like all that kind of stuff. But it's in all reality, most of us are just everyday scrapbookers. We're just coming down in our room to escape the chaos of life. So, you know, it's like we're not gonna get paid the big bucks to make all these albums, because honestly, if we all could do that, we would, and we all would spend all of our time at our desk. But then how would we wouldn't be making all the memories of the stuff. Not to say that Paige doesn't do that, but I think you know, they do specific things, and they're able to do, because they are a dual income household, because her husband, is he still in the military? I don't know if he is,
or if he is.
It's so now I have to remember what he does. I know he's either a doctor or a dentist or something like that. He's in the medical field. But so it's like they have a dual income household, so that, and they always prioritize doing like vacations and stuff, which is awesome and amazing when you can do that. But we don't do vacations. We don't really have money to do vacations. And I will say I've been lucky to live different places. So like I've been able to highlight, and living in Hawaii is the pinnacle, because that was like a vacation for 3 years, you know, but
every day.
But we all don't have that experience. It's like here, like we can do like little mini trips and stuff, and that's nice to plan. But so I feel like that's where non-themed and themed kind of are nice, because, you know, if you don't have these big events that you think that you should do, like if you don't go on vacations, but you still want to do mini albums, it's like, okay, so that's a good place to kind
just kind of jump in.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know
So
like he used to do a lot of like the books that she was reading. I think she used to do those in like a mini album. Did Sarah do that too? I don't remember. But anyway, I know that there's a lot of ladies who read, and so they put that in like a mini album. What's her name? There's one lady that I watch her Instagram, and she does a lot of like planner stuff, but she does a lot of like almost like mini album type things, like showcasing what just like herself and like from her planner and like what she's reading and like the little day-to-day stuff. So, which is always kind of fun because you can look back at it, and it doesn't, I mean, we already talked about that, you know, having all these photos and feeling like we want to use them all. So anyway, okay. Let's
so
see.
what if we start with, how do you decide what your mini album is going to be about? If you're not doing, because we kind of wanted to talk about non-themey albums this time around, because we kind of talked about like the December, the week and the day in the life and other stuff like that. So like, if you're not doing a themed album, how do you decide what your album is going to be about, or or what collection you're going to use, you know, all of that.
I know. So I feel like mostly for me, I do themed type stuff, but I will say like I have some albums that are like fall themed, or like I was telling you, I have a coffee themed one that I did for a design team or like a project. And so it's just all coffee stuff. Like, so it's themed, but it's just, I just took pictures of my coffee, like random pictures.
Yeah.
You know, because like there's sometimes
that.
those types of things, like, you know, you take a picture of your breakfast, or that was a thing for like the longest time, right? Or your meals when you go out. Like my sister-in-law does that all the time. Take pictures of, or like, I mean, even I guess camping trips, but that's more on the themey side. But it's like taking those non-traditional themed things and kind of making it an album. It makes it really fun. And I feel like those are ones that are, you can easily get done relatively quickly and feel accomplished, because it's, you don't have to have as many photos. I think the longest part of that for me is finding the photos that I want to use. It's like, okay, let me go through my 10 years of photos and find coffee ones that I want. And it's like, so that leads me to think like, do I want a certain aesthetic to it? Like, do I want the photos to look relatively the same? Because there's times in my scrapbooking career where I've edited photos differently. You know, it used to be the big thing to use Instagram filters all the time, and sometimes that is kind of all I had to go off of. So I would put the filter on before I put it in on Instagram to make it look like it was an Instagram photo. So, you know, I think that even picking like those kinds of things, like taking an aesthetic of a photo, like, you know, that could be kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, and now we have like Snapchat filters.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will use those, and those are really fun because like Ashley and I do that, like, you know, every once in a while, or like if we're doing it at home and the kids will join in, you know, and that's kind of fun. Like, and so that's a really good idea that you could do like a Snapchat filters album. That's actually a really cute idea.
I know me and my kids, we did that for a little bit, you know, and it's like, you have all these photos. It's like, okay, how many layouts am I going to make with those photos? But you took those photos and you still want to document them. So it's like a perfect place to put those kinds of photos that don't necessarily need a whole big page, because you don't need a whole big page, but it's kind of fun in an album. And then honestly, those are the type of albums that I feel like our kids would probably love to have when they're a little bit older. They can look through it and be like, look how cute we were as kids and how silly we were, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just it's something little, you know, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. And it's not like a big album. I mean, I guess the only thing is you have to have something to hold it, which, you know, I have a basket in my scrap room that I just put my traveler's notebooks and I put the little albums that I made. Like I have this one that I did for Click Hits at one point, and like this one was like not even traditional. It's just all fall stuff.
It's just a bunch of
and the cut files because I think it was Gia who made a lot of the cut files, but for Click Hits. But I mean, we had a ton of cut files. Like I even cut out the picture. Like the cut for the back of the cut file and then put the cut file on it. Can't see the picture, anything. But, you know, I mean, sometimes like for me, it's more about creating it. And I think that's like when I see Paige Evans albums, that's to me what I get out of that is like, she's just trying to be creative and use those pictures. Cause I bet you and this would be interesting to ask her is like, does she use the same pictures over and over again, or does she use completely new pictures for just a specific, you know, like trip or thing that they did? I mean, they've been lucky because they were in the military also, and they did a ton of trips when they were like in Europe. They went all over the place, and she always gets amazing photos. But but like when you do these little things and you have all these photos that maybe aren't even the best quality, because like I think about Snapchat or the Instagram filters or like certain things like coffee or your food plates, like they're not always looking like super amazing, you know, like but
not the best photos.
It's a great place that you can highlight it, and it can be about the design and the photos, but it takes away the emphasis isn't always just on the photos, you know, like because when I think about December Daily and more themey type stuff like that, it is about the photos, you know, it's the aesthetic of the photo. It's like especially when dude, I see her picture in my head because she always takes amazing fall photos, Ashley, and it's like those photos are, you want to be the highlight. You want it a big page of it because the photos, especially fall time, like those colors, and Christmas time, you want a big photo. You know, you don't want to hide it behind a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, I mean, you see Allie Edwards do this all the time too. That's why I think she does so much with the journaling part, is because she wants the photo to also be the focus, where like when you do the non-themey or like the odd themed ones, it doesn't always just have to be at the photo doesn't, it also can be the embellishments, it can be all the other stuff that we all like to play with, because that's one of the fun things about doing a mini album, I feel like, is that you can incorporate either embellishments that maybe you wouldn't have put on a big page, or you know, you can make it whatever, so it can be whatever style you want it to be. It doesn't have to be like super traditional if you don't want it to be. Right. So, I'm trying to think if there's other like non-themey. I still feel like you could make it a theme.
And that's the hard part, because the more that we sit here talking, and I'm like, I feel like every album or mini album has a theme. Especially like the mini albums, because it's like you want to put all of these photos in one place, and you can just grab one album and look through those photos. So I feel like it's kind of hard to not have a theme layout or a theme mini album.
I think it's what you decide to do that could make it non-traditional, right? Well, and I think so this is one of the questions is like, okay, so when you're doing especially these like non-traditional themes, like how do you decide what pages highlight your album, or how do you do that to like for the flow of the album, like so that you know right away, oh, this is an album about Snapchat or filters or I don't know, like other things.
Yeah.
Like I'm just thinking of like all these things. Like some people, it could be just like your dog or your cats,
Right.
or your animals or whatever, It was like, so how do you decide which kinds of albums need like that kind of anchor or highlight, and like how do you, I don't know.
Well, and I think it depends on what the goal is of the layout. So like if you're taking your coffee layout, it's just a bunch of random photos.
Yeah.
Like there's not like there is a theme, but there's not like a rhyme or a reason, right? It was just kind of something you enjoy, and it was kind of fun to just throw it all together, like so I think because we're with December Daily now, I always have like an intro page on my December Daily.
Yeah.
So that's like the highlight of the album is, okay, what am I going to do this year? Like, is it going to be like, one year I know I took individual photos of everybody, and they were all kind of the same, like we were all in front of the tree, and we all had, and it was kind of like I think that year we did like blue, like theme on our tree or something. I don't remember, because I think the photos were like kind of blue tinted, and we all wore, like like different shirts, obviously, but like kind of the same like color, but not really, like, so it was kind of like family photos, but it was like more fun because it was in front of the Christmas tree, so it's like, so like with December Daily or even like albums, like I feel like it's really easy to do like a highlight or like a cover, like this is fall, like, whatever.
And I think for me, it's also like, and I think this kind of goes along with the goal of it, is how playful do I want to be with this, or how traditional do I want to be with this, because some like, so to go back to what I've done, like I did this mini album with fall photos, or mostly fall photos, but like there wasn't really a focus to it. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna have fun with a whole bunch of fall things. But then when I did my fall class and did an album, I had more of a focus. Now, I'm trying to think which page was for. Oh, I think this was the first page. Like it had more of a like, okay, yeah, this is definitely fall. And each page I made sure, even though the pictures were similar to like this style, as far as like I just picked the fall photos from the year, but they looked better, everything in it was like screams fall. And so there was more of a focus to it than, oh, I'm just having fun, I'm just like, oh, I want to use the cut file for my photo. And why I decided to put this thing, I'm telling you, why I decided to put the cut file over top of the photo, I don't know, because that was silly, Hannah. Silly things that you do, but I do feel like, yeah, there's certain times where you want to have that goal that tells you, like, that kind of grounds you, but then propels you forward for the rest of the album. I feel like when I do like vacation type stuff, I also want that, to have that kind of feel to it. I'm trying to think if I did that at all in our album. No, I just started off, but I left a page at the beginning. See, so it's like I might have not did it yet. Oh my gosh, I can't talk because everything's falling in. What I really love is I have a receipt in here, guys.
Oh, do you?
Yes. For tea.
Ooh.
Huh. From Safeway. Anyway, I want to try and think. Oh, and cookies. And apple cider, I think. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, so like I had more of a anchor, a thought that at some point I'd do that. So when you have like a highlight or anchor, do you like to do, or like something that's going to ground the project, do you like to do that first, or do you like to wait to do that?
I think it sets the tone for like your whole mini album. So and again, the main mini album that I do is December Daily. Like I don't do a ton.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna keep going back to that. But like I like to do that first because it's kind of like the first piece is done. So like the intro page or the highlight, whatever you want to call it, but it's like, okay, now let's get into it. Let's start, Well, and there was a year where I did, instead of doing like big 12 by 12 pages, I just did the 6 by 8.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with each one of those mini albums, because I think I did like maybe 3 binders of those. With each one, I would start out on a new month and I would have
something so that you knew, okay, we're starting a new month or whatever. So I think that even if I did a lot more mini albums, I think I would start with like a highlight piece or intro page, whatever you want to call it, just to kind of set the tone for the whole layout.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I'm trying to think. I think a lot of times I don't do it first. I think I wait and do it after, because then I know, like, oh, I can use what I've used before to kind of tie everything together. But with that said, I'm trying to think because I have, hold on a second. Okay, let's see. Thankfully, I have most of my mini albums right over here. All right, let's see here. Now,
I've got a lot there. Are those all December Daily?
No. So this one is, I think it's Week in the Life. Yes. So this one I did do the page first, because it just has with one of my favorite alphas ever.
Oh, fun.
The C'est La Vie collection.
Yes.
But this one's not done. It's mostly done. But I actually liked how I have all my pictures in here. Or most. No, that's not true. I have half of my. So, but this one I tried to like have more of a focus, so I did do it first. I feel like stuff like Week in the Life, Day in the Life, December Daily, I do the page first. Yeah. Why is this not in a thing? I have my, like, the first day. Well, I don't know what day this is.
Oh, little Sam.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
And then the other dogs. So I did do like hybrid on this one, which I don't usually do. I usually just do pictures, but like even just.
Oh, fun.
That was fun using, and like I have all of my notes here.
Awesome.
Good me did notes, so I could go back. What year is this? 2000, probably 2018.
Wow.
But then I have this Week in the Life. I think this was Week in the Life, or was it Day in the Life? So this one I don't have what it is. I'm gonna say this might be Day in the Life, because I'm pretty sure this is. So this one was when I was in Hawaii. Oh, look at, there's Boxer.
Hey, we still use that.
The most frustrating app that you can talk with people about. But yeah, so this one, I think I pretty much finished this, which was nice, or mostly. Yeah, I don't know if it's finished, but 6:41 is the last thing I did. So, which makes sense. I probably did nothing the rest of the day, and then I have this week in the life, which also I did a front page too. So. I feel like week in the life and day in the life, it's easier. This one is also not done, by the way, because as I love the projects, I love doing them, but it's so hard to stick through because it's just such a big project. And I think that's why I end up liking to do the smaller ones because it's just so much manageable to like get it finished. Where like week in the life, and I think it's because I also like to do it in the moment, like when it's happening. Because that momentum helps get me more excited, where it's like after the week's done, it's like, okay, like, and then you're fried.
Out of your mind.
It's a big project. It's because you have to remember to take photos, especially like day in the life. Day in the life is easier in the sense that it's one day. But you're just constantly taking photos all day of what you're doing. Like nowadays, it would be so boring because like half the time I'm, especially on a day that I work, it's like I'm at work for a good portion of the day and then I come home and do boring stuff, which I know the part of that project. And I think that's why it's good to have like a goal. Like, why do I want to do this type of album?
Right.
And it is fun to look back and see, oh, this is what we did throughout the week. And actually a lot of times when I did week in the life, it would be when the kid's dad was at, like doing training or whatever. So he wouldn't even be here. So that was kind of nice because it was like what it was like for us, like just me and the kids, which is interesting now to look back on how that routine looked then as opposed to now when, even though it's not just me and the kids now, but a lot of the days it's just me and the kids, So where it's like when you're focusing on like the holidays or like fall time and like little things like that, it's a lot different. It looks a lot different. Though it's like I give props to like Paige because when she does and even Teresa has done mini albums for like their vacations, and like I'm still working on my vacation one, and because that's such a bigger project because there's so many more photos that you want to get in there.
Right.
So I think, like for me, managing like how many photos. So I guess this is a question that kind of we can lead into is, do you like to back print your photos? Do you like to print them like as you're working on the album? How do you do that? I know since you don't do a lot of albums, you kind of just base it off of what you do, but
well, and I think when I'm doing like, because the way I do so any type of mini album is I probably would batch print a bunch of photos. Like I'm gonna start, we just got some of our wedding photos back, and so I really want to start going through all of the wedding photos and picking out the best ones from the photographer and then from friends and family and everything, and then pick out, like, okay, which ones am I gonna print off for the mini album, which ones am I going to print off to do, 12 by 12 layouts on? Because, I'm going to do a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I really like, and nowadays, I think I want to say I'm more intentional, but then also, I think it depends on the subject too. It's like for like, big vacations and stuff, I definitely am more like when you and I went on our vacation, I'm pretty sure I have all of the photos printed. Where they are, I have no idea, but like I batch printed those, like, and I sat down and I kind of did the same thing where I picked out the best ones, and there's some that I have done 12 by 12s of, and so like that's another thing. Like, am I going to include those photos in the mini album that I eventually someday will make? You know, like, should I do that? I don't know. Like, maybe that's a question for future me, like when I actually sit down to print those.
Yeah.
But like, and that's the thing too. Like, if I print off a photo that's like my favorite, do I want it in the mini album for the wedding? And do I want it, you know, in the bigger album too? Like this, all of those things are kind of I'll probably think about when I sit down to print everything off. But I like batch printing because then it's like it's all done. And I don't have to like think about it again. Because I feel like if I were to just print and then scrapbook those photos that I printed, that would get so annoying. And I would just talk myself out of printing. You know, like, oh, I have other photos I can print, you know, that are already printed. Like, I can just use these ones over the mini album ones if I wait, you know?
Yeah. I feel like if I want to finish the album, getting it batch printed is the way to go, because all of my photos are there, and then I can just, you know, work on pages, put in the album, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I think about the ones that I haven't finished, like, so December Daily, I will say I do not batch print as much with that one, because a lot of times I will do it throughout December. So but I will do it in chunks. Like, I'll do a couple of days or a few days or a week at a time, so that I have that week's pictures done. Like this year's or this past year's, I have some of the photos printed, but not all of them, because that's how I started it. And then it got to the busy part. And so I have like half of the month that I got to print out. But like, and I think about like even the week in the life and stuff. I think this one, I have most of my pictures. Yeah, I have all my pictures in this one already all done, which is nice, because then I can just go in. Where my notes are, I don't know. But, you know, that journaling is a whole other thing.
Definitely.
But that's a me problem if I'm not being consistent. And like this one, all the pictures that I have in here are in here. So actually, I think this one is pretty much done. I did all my journaling. I don't know if I have other pictures or not. I'm gonna say no, and just be okay. Where like this one, I don't think I have all of the pictures in here. I have quite a few. No, I don't. Let's see. Because I have nothing for Thursday. I have a picture for Friday. Yeah, so I have some pictures in here for some of the days. Like this day, I was gardening. And I put that in there, but I don't have any other pictures for like half of the week. So I know I had them in probably a folder, or they're on my computer or whatever. So like it would be easy to print them off.
Right.
But like I will say, this is why it's not done, because I don't have it. Where like our album, the whole reason why it's not done isn't because I don't have pictures, because I think I have all my pictures in that I wanted to use. Yeah. See, so I have all these already printed out.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I just picked some, but I have done big pictures. So I do not discriminate with pictures, and I will scrap them. I'm sure I have more than one layout of multiple of the same picture. But I like, even if I had it in an album, I don't mind doing it on a layout. It's not that big of a deal to me. And like sometimes I'll just scrap the same photo, but most of the time I don't. But I'm sure I have done that, because sometimes I just am inspired by the picture. So do you like to build your page based off of the picture, or do you like to build your page first and then decide like what kind of picture you want?
Oh, I definitely scrapbook with photos in mind. I've always been like that. Like, I've never been able, well, I guess I'm not going to say never, because I think there was a point where when I first started scrapbooking, like, oh God, when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It was just like willy-nilly, like it was a crazy process. But like once I kind of learned a little bit more as an adult and as like a photography major, like about color and like theme and all of that and how it all kind of can work together. I think definitely once I started having kids and all of that, and I would look at the photos and decide, okay, this is the collection I'm going to use, or this is the color from the collection I want to use. And so I
Yeah.
definitely am more photo driven when it comes to making layouts. There will be some times where it's like because I'm in a kit club, I'm on a design team, and if I get a kit and I'm like, oh my God, like this kit would go so good with this photo, or whatever. So like
Yeah.
there are times that I do start with the papers first and then pick the photo, but a lot of time I usually start with the photos.
So I think for me, it depends what kind of mini album projects. Like Week in the
Right.
Life, I feel like a lot more, it's more picture based because it's journal based. But like I know with like my fall album and the coffee one, didn't, I picked the photo. I mean, so I shouldn't say, I do still use the photo as the inspiration sometimes for the colors, but a lot of
Right.
times, like especially if I'm going to add mixed media, sometimes I won't know what I'm doing until after. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, I don't know what page, I don't know what picture. But a lot of times I do, like it kind of goes hand in hand. Like I'm not thinking about the picture, but that's definitely not like the product and maybe what I want to do on the page is like that's the fun part because I can tailor it to whatever picture. So sometimes I'll have an idea in my head of what I want to do on a page, like with the Mexico album. I had that a few times. So I'm like, oh, I want to do and like because I had a memory in my mind, like because we went in December, or well, it was the end of November, beginning of December, and there was one of the streets was all lined with Christmas trees, like the whole street. It was so crazy. It is like 70 degrees, 70, 75, and it's like Christmas trees all down it. A lot of them were flocked. And of course, they're from Washington State, which was like way far out. We're like, we're in the middle of Mexico. And because it takes so long to drive down these roads, you're on the street for a while. So you're really looking at everything. And I knew I wanted to like do like that red and green theme, but like that teal and red like color with the Christmas trees and have a page that was like very Christmassy, even though the album is not Christmassy at all because it's Mexico and everything is like bright colors and and not Christmas.
Right.
But like that was super fun to do that. So it's like I didn't necessarily like go, oh, I have a picture in my head. I just had this memory in my head that like motivated the spread when I did it. So super fun. Actually, I should see if I have that one because
you should.
this is why we do this. Because I'm working on, and this one I don't have all the pictures printed out either. But let's see, because I'm making one for our friends too. So let's see. Yeah, see, so this one, so that was the picture I ended up picking.
Oh, fun.
But I just made it like super fun and pretty, and Christmassy.
I love that.
Even though, I have pictures that are bright, and tequila.
Yep.
He doesn't like tequila. But so like that was super fun to be able to like kind of have more of a memory based like thought process and then go from there. But I feel like that's not as common. And I feel like I don't know. But I feel like that could stop if the flow of creativity too. If it like you put too much focus on that instead of using the photos to help drive you through the process, even though like sometimes if it's just like that non-themey theme, like that's our topic today, non-themey themes, you know, like coffee or Snapchat filters or like certain things I think don't lend to the pictures being the driving force. Like even though they're a big part of it, it's still like it's more about being playful and having fun in your album as opposed to like really documenting. Like I feel like if you're gonna do like a me album, even that could be like really fun. You can really have a lot of fun and play. Like dog is out. I was like, what? I don't know if anyone could hear it, but my dog's out on the other side and he's making a lot of noise. Poor him, he can't be in here. But yeah, we're like I'm thinking of like October Daily or like those you really want more of like a focus. As you know, like books, you could probably you can have fun with that focus, but it's going to be more, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what I'm I was going to say disregard what I'm saying, but no, but I think everybody knows what I mean.
Yeah, no, I think so. Well, and then, so how do you handle like memorabilia in a mini album? So do you collect all of those things while like, if we thinking about Mexico, like, did you keep a lot of memorabilia to put in your albums?
I'm trying to think because I have, let's see, I don't think I have that much in there. I have a whole thing of just stuff to put in there. I have some stuff, but not really. Like, I thought about putting it in there. Now I have to look. Because I thought about saving stuff, but like nowadays, the quality of things that you save is a lot different. So I feel like you're really intentional about what you're like, what stuff is getting saved.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree about that. It's funny because like I save everything from every life. Like, where did we go? We went to the fair, I think, and Ashley cut off the kids' like bracelets, like the ride bracelets, and she like immediately just gave them to me. And like, so I save all of the things, but it's like, am I even gonna use it? Like that's the question.
Like I know, because I'm trying to think if I even have anything in here. Because I know I have the certificate when we went on the balloon ride. But I don't think we bought that much or have that much memorabilia. I'm not a memorabilia, maybe, and that's what it is, because I found that like a lot of times I don't end up using it. Like I have containers with stuff in it that is memorabilia. And I've done like a layout spread. Like one time we went to the Dole Plantation and we did the maze. They have like a full maze there. And we would just go there to do something because it was free from where we lived. And so I saved the ticket that because it has the picture of the maze on it. So it's super cute.
Cool.
And I put that on the layout with the photo.
Yeah.
But so it's like a lot of times I don't save that stuff. And like I know like receipts don't save well because now they put it on the paper, it just fades.
Right.
And they do that even with the plane tickets. So sometimes I do keep plane ticket stubs. So I think I have a few things like from Mexico, but not really. It's mostly just and I feel like that kind of helps me in a way because I feel like sometimes the memorabilia gets in the way for me. Like I can't make it flow with the aesthetic of like and I say that knowing I do tons of Metsy stuff. And I don't and layering and like so it's like it really honestly I think it's just I'm not to say I'm not creative enough, but I don't work as hard to make it work because I know it could.
Right.
And I think it's just that intentionality of like saving stuff. Sometimes I do like when I went to Cannon Beach this year for our church went there. I saved like some of the bags that the products that I or the stuff that I brought home for the kids. So like I saved that kind of stuff. So I was thinking about if I do something with that, I could use it like on a page or like use part of the thing.
Yeah.
So along that line, um how do you incorporate like do you do that a lot in your like December dailies and stuff? Use the memo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's, well, the last couple of years have been kind of different for me for December daily. So
Yeah.
the last couple of years I haven't been doing that, but I think I kind of miss it because I was going through some of my very first December daily albums
Yeah.
and there was a lot. Like I don't remember what year it was, but I saw on I don't remember if it was like social media or if it was on YouTube or something, but somebody used like one of those the guard on the coffee from Starbucks. What's that
Yeah.
called? The paper,
Yeah.
the the cup
I don't
holder, whatever
know.
that I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
think of
The
what
little
it's called.
sleeve that you put on
Yes,
there
the
so that
sleeve.
you're not
Yes.
touching the actual cup that's super hot.
Yes.
I do that. I've done that quite a few
And
years
I
where I take it in
love
my
that.
pocket. So I do
Mhm.
that. So I feel like December daily is sometimes is easier because you can and now that you say that, I think that there's been a couple of years where I've saved some of the labels off of stuff and
Yeah.
but I haven't done that recently. And now I feel like that's a good, honestly, this year would be as a good probably year to do that because junk journaling is like super.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like that would be a great way to like show the people who junk journal, like, how do you make it more of a focus? Because I feel like junk journal by nature is less focused. It's about
Hmm.
just being fun and like super creative and stuff
Right.
where it's not like, yeah, you're saving the memorabilia, but it's just because you're just saving everything. So it doesn't
Yes.
necessarily have to have a rhyme or reason, but it's kind of
Right.
fun to think that you could have a page that, you incorporate or you incorporate it within albums with pictures. I think
Hmm.
that's a good way to kind of merge and like,
Oh, yeah, totally.
um, change and stuff. Well, and so now that you're saying it, now I want to make sure I put that in my mind because which
I'll
reminds me,
remind you.
I gotta go to Costco and check and see if they have the wines of the world or like the wine for the month or whatever for December because I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So this
Oh,
is
cool. That's a
everybody's
good idea.
reminder. If you like the beer or the wine at Costco for the December packs that they do, because I think they have a beer one too.
Hmm.
So um don't forget to get it
On
because
that.
they sell out super quick.
When do they get that?
I think it's around my birthday.
Oh, really?
Usually,
Oh,
it's usually like the middle to the end of September, I think, is when they usually get
okay.
it. hmm
Okay. So
So,
go get it.
and I actually usually don't make it till December, but I think this year I want to wait till December and do it and have that part of
Mm.
my album.
Yeah, that would be
So,
cool. Hmm.
um, do you like to add mixed media and that kind of stuff to your pages, or when do you decide to do mixed media in your mini albums?
I'm gonna say I don't do a lot of mixed media in my mini albums. Um, just because the purpose, the reason I do mini albums is to make it easy. And I
Yeah.
feel like for me, at least, mixed media isn't easy. Or it's not that it's not easy, it's just there's a lot that goes into mixed media
Yeah.
because you like oftentimes you have to wait for the prod or the page to dry. And it's like when I'm sitting down to do a mini album, I just want to get it done. you know, and like the process needs to be very streamlined and so that I can sit and feel accomplished. So mixed media isn't always, because I feel like for me mixed media is like a 2 or 3 step process, like so it takes multiple days or hours, and usually I try to stay away from that kind of stuff if I'm doing a mini album. Just keep it easy.
So for me, depending on the type of mini album is when I'll do it. Like, so like vacation albums, I'm not going to put a lot of mixed media on. I probably even, so some years for December Daily, I've done a few pages with mixed media on it. I always like to do a tag with mixed media because that makes it easier. For whatever reason, doing tags are so much easier. But I will say, when I did my class one, which, by the way, if anybody wants to buy the class, let me know. And I'll give you the Patreon, my Patreon. I actually have a Patreon. And my class is in there. So I have this class and I have a watercolor background class. So you get 2 for the price of 1. So you can just buy the month and do the class. Super easy. It's all like YouTube based videos. So anyway, but so I did a ton of mixed media in this, but I did it in batch. So I did all the mixed media and then I put it together. So I picked the pages, the background pages that I wanted to do mixed media with, and I did that. And so I lined it all up and I just did different elements so that that part got all done at one time. And then so I feel like smaller mini albums works really nicely to do that kind of stuff, but like a bigger thing like week in the life and day in the life, like I feel like it's kind of because that's not the focus. The focus is the photos and the journaling and like this is what we did in the week, and it's not as art heavy. And if I want to be playful, I can play with the embellishments and stuff. And I always like to have some kind of layered embellishment type things. It's like that's the fun part of it. Otherwise, it's like I could just do a layout, or I don't know. I don't even need to document. Not yet.
Right.
In that sense, you know. So it's that's the whole purpose, is that you can see this is what we did, you know, at this period of time for this week. And this is how it changed over the years. So December Daily is like I have to kind of have an idea of why, like what kind of mixed media, and if I want to get something done quick in a mini album, like I definitely don't do mixed media, because like you said, it's a multi-step. Like you have to be prepared, or I feel like for me, I have to be prepared on how I want to do that so that I can streamline it and do, like I said, do all those pages at one time and then let them dry and then put them together. But and so it is possible. It's just how, like, we're in that process, I guess. I mean, I think it looks nice when you have it in there,
right?
Kind of style that you have, but like, and that's, I guess the thing is, like, some of my albums I have a certain style, like the Week in the Life is definitely more Allie Edwards type style, and it is journal based as opposed to like fun, playful based. So
yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, so like, what do you do if you get stuck in the middle of making like a mini album? Is there something that you would do to like jumpstart the ideas again, or like what do you do if you just kind of hit a roadblock?
I think for me, I just stop working on it and I put it away. I put it on my shelf and I come back to it later, because a lot of times it's that I'm getting burnt out by the process of it. It's just so big of a project. And I think that's why it's probably why I have so many mini albums that aren't finished. Is it's just too much for my brain. Like, I for sure know that I have ADHD if we're using unfinished albums as the guide, right?
Yeah.
And so like and that's why like I tried to do the one little word album, and I couldn't do it. It's just too long of a process. I get too burnt out on it. It's just
Right.
it's and it's the starting and stopping. So like that's where I think batch, like doing those preemptive things like batch printing, if I know I want to use mixed media, doing like some of those pages first, getting together like what kind of products I think I want to use for a mini album is really helpful for me to be successful. And so doing those things first kind of really helped me not get stuck. But then if I just get stuck, I just put it away. Like my Mexico one, it's away essentially. And some of it, and then I just have to remember to pick it back up, because that's part of the also problem about stopping, which is hard because because I can't just keep going. If I keep going, I'm not going to feel it. And
right.
I don't, it's like, then why did I decide to do it? Then I'm questioning, why did I do this? Because I'm not having fun anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Why I think the longer I've done scrapbooking, the more I've gotten picky about the things that I do like mini albums with. And that's why I think doing fun ones, like little smaller ones, are so much more reasonable. And I've enjoyed them, and I enjoy looking at them because I was having fun playing with it. So I think knowing yourself ahead of time before you're starting, and just being realistic, and I say this a lot, being realistic about like who you are as a scrapbooker really helps. Because if like, and I get that, like, as a new scrapbooker, that's the hard part, is like you're still trying to figure this out, but don't beat yourself up. Like, I'm not beating myself up that I have some week in the lives that aren't finished. Like I said, I have to go through my pictures to finish the at least the one, probably both of them, to print out more photos. I have to go look through my stuff and see where are all, because I know I have notes from some of them, so, but so like also not kicking myself in the butt like really helps. So what are some things that you do that help when you feel stuck?
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of what you said. So like, even if it's just like, so if I do a bunch of like December daily, because I don't do mine during the month. As like when January hits, it's like, okay, now I'm going to go through all of the photos from December, and I'm going to pick which ones I want to do. And it depends on if like, am I doing a daily versus like just event based, like, am I just picking all my favorite photos from the month? So like, if I kind of get worn out, because this year, actually, I've done a lot of December daily, and December documented and stuff. Like in January, I did a lot of that. And then in April, I picked it again, and I'm actually kind of thinking like I might want to start doing
her stuff again. And so
I did. I want to. We're in fall time now, so now I'm thinking about December.
You're right. I know. Like, you got to get thinking about this, right, to get ready for it. But so like, if I
do the same thing, I'll set it aside, and even if it's like one layout, I'll make of something that happened more recently, or even if it's a different project or something, like I'll just do something else, and then I'll go back to it, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is so fun, like I want to get this done, let's do it. So taking a break is like just a good rule of thumb. Don't force it, because I think a lot of people just force it sometimes, and then it's like, then you go back after you're done with the project and you're like, ew, like I hate some of these pages, or something. Like, you can tell you weren't enjoying the process anymore.
That you got burnt out by the project,
exactly,
because it was just too big. I think that it's like, if I could give any advice to anybody working on or gonna do a mini album, prep work ahead of time, because it's like, as much as like I like to just go with the flow, and it's so nice to have like do I want to have a theme, like,
right,
because that's the thing, is like, how many times do you start a mini album? Do you think about the color palette that you want to use?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I do, but sometimes like with my Mexico trip, one, I have to use the pictures as inspiration because I have so many colorful pictures. Like to go back to, so we went on a party boat in Mexico City. And so I'm like, the colors are like crazy, you know? So I'm like, oh, I got to use colors on the pages, you know? It's like the whole thing was crazy. And because the drinks, I mean, even the drink that they gave us, look how colorful that is.
That's so
That's
fun.
beer, by the way. That's beer.
That's a beer?
Yeah, probably with tequila too, but it's like, but that's the fun part about like certain places that you go or certain things, like the colors can really drive and help tie your album together.
Oh,
And
definitely.
so like when I did my coffee album, I tried to pick with like teals and pinks and like fun like colors I enjoy scrapping with, but sometimes I'll go, oh, I want to use this album, like our vacation, our mini vacation, I wanted to do more of a travel theme, but like use the pictures as like kind of the guide for what I was doing. And I still have a ton of Citrus Twist, their pocket page kits, because I thought that would be a fun investment to have, and haven't used them all. And I have a ton of them stuff. And they do a lot of like, you know, for the or the summers, like summery type stuff and all that kind of stuff. So like for me, it's nice to have that beginning stuff prepared, just so that it sets me up for success. And then I'm still excited to keep going. But it's like, you know, sometimes we got to make these things like super big. And I get it's like we don't want to be left out. And I think that's like the nice thing about maturing and scrapbooking is like I don't feel like I have to do every single thing. You know, I can enjoy what we'll do a week in the life. Like as much as I loved the album that I have started and the project altogether. It's like I don't feel the need to have to do it every year because I know I'm not going to finish it because it's just such a big project. It's just so much. And I just doing the project gets me burnt out. And then I'm not excited to do or I'm excited for just a small amount of time.
Right.
And then, you know, and it's like now that I have so many other things on my plate, like I don't want that stress. Like it doesn't fill my cup. It takes from my cup. And so, but it just takes time to get there. And like, I mean, but I see everybody's like all the October albums and I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do it. But I know me. I'm going to go straight to December. I'm going to work on this year's December. I'm going to start thinking about December for this year. And, you know, I know for me, I really love December dailies. That's kind of what I've stuck to for many albums now, because I know those are ones that I'm more likely to finish because I do love the holidays. So I think also picking out like mini albums for things that you do like and enjoy, or that you think you're going to really like to look at, because that's going to help propel you to finish it, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I think I like this, but I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know,
exactly. You have to be excited about the project in order to like actually complete it and like stick with it to finish it.
Well, I think that's one of the fun things about doing it in like a class form, is that you have so many other people that are excited about it. And I think that's why we've jumped on Week in the Life, Day in the Life, you know, my one little word and that kind of stuff, is because it's a whole group of people that love to do it and love to talk about it. And so you get all hyped up, but then you don't finish in the time and everybody else is done and they're not hyped up anymore. So it's like, that's where knowing yourself in the process is like, how long am I going to be able to stick with this? Because there's going to be a part of the time where I have to hype myself up about it. So you have to really love it. And sometimes it's, like I said, it's trial by error. You kind of realize.
Yep. I agree.
and doing it that way. So, okay, I think we're pretty good. I think we've talked through quite a bit of this doing mini albums. I want to know what mini albums you guys like to do, what kind of projects that you've done. What is your favorite like non-themey album that you've done, and what kind of like, so one thing we didn't really talk about, which maybe other people can talk about, is whether they like to do like try new techniques when they do their mini albums, or do you stick with stuff that you know? I kind of like to stick to things that I know.
Yeah.
Because I know that I don't want to get overwhelmed, but it all does depend. So I'm kind of curious if other people are like that too. So okay, I don't know. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we're good.
I know a lot of times we talk about tips, but we've talked about so much stuff this
Yeah.
time. Maybe also a thing is what are other people's tips? What is a tip that they use themselves, or guide that they use themselves when they're doing mini albums to kind of help complete the mini album, because that's the whole goal, is to complete it and have something completed. So I want to hear what other people's tips are, and maybe we can put, or not maybe, we'll put that in the group too, so that we can get people talking in the group and stuff. I know that's one of our plans this year, as we get towards the end of the year, is like get a little bit more active in there. Now that I feel like this part of the year is just ramping up, but also for me, it kind of slows down because it's not the summer. And I feel like the summers for us are just so
it's crazy,
but, so yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah.
I wait to see what albums you guys like to do and all that kind of stuff, and have those conversations. Super fun.
Yeah.
And definitely if you guys have pictures of mini albums or like videos that you want to share, be sure to share them in the Crafty Maven Getaway group. Like all of that is welcome. I love seeing what people are doing. I know we kind of go in spurts here and there, and I know like I said, I know it's a kind of like a busy time of the year. So as people are, but definitely share the stuff that you guys have done, and we will see you guys next week for another episode.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.